we had to actually recreate the fights that Sultan takes part in, especially in the mixed martial arts section, where we had to recreate the entire arena in which he fights. Originally, the principal photography had a small wedge of the arena built, and maybe 100 people, 150 people as audience and spectators. So we went in and built the entire arena, created all the seating, created a second tier, created a roof, etc. So we built an arena of 5, 6, 7,000 people in which you see all the fights. We also done a lot of these extensions and crowd sort of duplication in the earlier part of the film when he starts in the village and in the district level championships and so on, so the crowds that have to be created there. We've also done a lot of virtual set extensions where he is running around in his town. We've recreated bits of the background so that the village is actually, the town is actually shot on set on the small street that was created. The rest of it was all extended in 3D CGI, where we extended and put in the backgrounds and so on. I would say that was a primary sort of work. We also had to, since the film covers Sultan's entire career over 7 or 8 years, we had to also age Sultan and unage Sultan depending on where in the film he was appearing, to keep the continuity going. He's younger, then he has to become older and so on. So that was also part of the scope of work. It had more than 1,600 shots of visual effects work, which is a lot of shots, and that's shots that you would normally have in a large visual effects film. But the fact is, and the point I'm making is that it's all invisible, and you it just adds to the credibility of the story, and you don't realize it's all there and it's all happening. And then there were little bits and pieces, I think, fireworks and stadium exteriors and so on, to connote that this is so-and-so stadium and things.
Biggest part was the crowd multiplication from a physical delivery and a completion point of view. That's the first thing that we started with. It's the one thing that the movie would have been incomplete without. As far as the stadiums are concerned, we had about 500 shots to be done, and in a very short span of time. The edits were still getting locked. So there are 3 major fights in the film, plus a couple of other ones. And as one fight used to get locked, we used to get it. So we had to build a system which was efficient, and so we wrote a little piece of software which allowed us, based on where the chairs are, based on the dimensions of the stadium, to actually put crowds over there individually. We did a separate shoot for the crowds downstairs in the studio over here, where we shot single people standing from various different angles and used them. So we had this whole library of people doing various kinds of activities, and we used those in various time and their action and various different angles based on what was required for the whole thing to be done. So this was 500 odd shots that needed to be done like this. The other thing was, a part of the film is based in Chandni Chowk, and if you've seen the movie, you can't really take Salman Khan and shoot with him over there because it's not going to happen. So we built a set over here, which was a fantastic set built by Rajneesh. It was a set that was built over here, and we put Jama Masjid behind, and we added the rest of Chandni Chowk behind. So it looks like it's happening in Old Delhi, but it's actually happening here. There was a portion which was meant to be in Punjab. Actually not in Punjab, in Haryana or somewhere. But we shot plates for it in Punjab because we found the geography there, looking like what we wanted it to. And we added the backgrounds over there, where he's, this is in his early days, where he's, chasing kites.
We had about 50 artists working on it to start with initially, but then we needed a lot of prep work to be done, so we did a lot of outsourced work on this prep work. So I would say in totality we had about 100 artists doing this over a period of, what are we saying, 5 months?
About 5.
Yeah, 5 months. So to start with, we started with about 50 and then grew to about 100. The software that we used for compositing, we used Nuke and the Flames, and all our 3D was done on Maya.
The tagline in the film is that wrestling is
Not a sport.
not a sport. It's about fighting what?
What
The
lies
demons,
within.
What lies within. So it's basically about fighting your own demons. And during the last fight of the film with Marcus, Salman comes face to face with the demons inside him, and that's what is depicted through that. So when he's going to Marcus to hit him his final bout, give him the to bring him down, finally he actually sees another Salman emerge from behind, and it's actually he wins over his own fears, and that's how he wins the fight. That's what I think that's what the director was trying to portray in that. So as far as shooting was concerned, we shot Mr. Khan as he would be in the fight while we were shooting the rest of the fights, while we were shooting the whole fight. And then at a later date, when he had built his physique to what was required, because that was one of the instances of Mr. Khan was him from an earlier time. So he's supposed to be fitter and younger at that point, essentially younger. So we waited for him to get back into shape for that, and then we shot that at the studio over here at Yashraj. So one portion of it was shot in January, and then the other part was shot in
April.
Much later in April
On
on chroma, and no motion control and all involved because it was fairly simple. The moves were fairly simple. We shot him static in front of a green screen.
When we started, I was slightly concerned that because we were a brand new studio, is it a great idea to start with such a big project? Maybe we should start with something smaller. But we didn't really have a choice. I mean, this film had to be done. And this was, in terms of timing, this was the film that had to be worked on. So we took this on as a challenge. And the good thing is that we were able to get a team going. This is the acid test. This is what sort of decides whether you're going to be a good team or not. So we were able to get the team together. Sultan helped get the team together in a sense. So that was fantastic, though it was getting very close to the finishing line towards the end in terms of deliveries and so on. But the team rallied and were able to deliver, and that's what builds a great team. Fortunately, I think there's a lot of experience within the studio. We are, and our artists are, and our leads have a lot of experience. So we were able to come together quickly. And if what we don't have in experience and skills, we make up in enthusiasm. So that was wonderful. We were able to put it together. So it was great, and it sort of matures us as a team overnight. We sort of become veterans at the game virtually overnight. So that's great.